Hey, welcome back. Something really important just happened, and it's going to have a major impact on a lot of folks across the country, especially if you're currently receiving Social Security benefits or you're planning to claim those benefits soon. President Donald Trump has just issued a brand new announcement that could significantly reshape the way the Social Security Administration functions, and even more importantly, how everyday people like you and me interact with the entire system. Now, at first glance, this might sound like just another routine government update that's easy to scroll past or ignore, but trust me, it goes much deeper than surface-level policy headlines. This change directly touches how essential services are delivered, how the government manages critical funds, and even shifts how the administration views its role in supporting hardworking Americans from all walks of life. What's especially surprising here is that this update isn't just about dollars, budgets, or cold numbers. It's really about core values, access to resources, and how the government shows up for the people who depend on these services. That's why I want you to stick around, because what we're about to explore could have a real meaningful impact on how you or your loved ones receive support from Social Security, not just for this year, but for many years to come. Before we dive deeper, I'd love it if you'd leave a comment down below, especially if you or someone you know has recently faced challenges accessing Social Security services or benefits. I'd really like to hear your experience and maybe even include your story in a future discussion or video. And if you're finding this information helpful already, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated with clear, straightforward, and practical financial advice every single week. Now, let's break down exactly what was announced. President Trump has officially reinstated something called National Social Security Month. If you've never heard of that before, you're not alone. It hasn't been formally recognized since back in 2019, so today's announcement marks the first time in 6 years that it's making a comeback. And while at first it might sound like nothing more than a simple awareness campaign or publicity event, this move actually signals something much bigger: a strategic shift in how the government wants to manage and approach Social Security moving forward. In other words, it's not just a headline. It's the first piece of a broader, more deliberate strategy. This announcement isn't simply about promoting awareness. It's a key part of a much larger transformation in the way the Social Security Administration plans to operate. The Trump administration has made it clear that they're aiming to reset the internal culture of the SSA. Their new focus is all about reviving traditional in-person service models. This means they're ending remote work arrangements for employees, reducing layers of middle management, and scaling back what they describe as wasteful programs, especially those related to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, commonly referred to as DEI. For some people, this feels like a positive return to the way things used to be done. For others, it raises real concerns that valuable resources and programs might be stripped away. So, what exactly does this mean for you? Well, let's imagine you're someone who prefers the ability to walk into a Social Security office and speak directly with a representative face to face. Maybe you've experienced frustration trying to get help over the phone, or perhaps the online system felt too complicated or unreliable. In that case, these new changes could actually work in your favor. More employees are being reassigned to frontline roles, and the administration is pushing for faster, more personalized service for people who visit in person. But what if you're someone who's gotten used to handling everything online? Maybe you work long hours, have family responsibilities, or live far from your nearest Social Security office. For you, this shift could feel like it's limiting your options, especially if in-person visits start becoming the primary or preferred method for getting assistance. It's really one of those complicated situations where what benefits one group might unintentionally make things harder for another. And here's another big piece of the puzzle. The administration says these reforms are expected to save more than $1 billion. That's a staggering figure. They plan to reinvest that money into modernizing the Social Security Administration's outdated technology systems, something that experts and advocates have been calling for over many years. If you've ever tried using their website or calling their phone lines, you probably know exactly why these upgrades are so desperately needed. But of course, some people are asking, will this billion-dollar savings actually result in better, faster, more reliable service? Or will cutting programs and restructuring operations end up causing more confusion, delays, or even burnout among SSA workers? And here's where things get personal. A friend of mine recently tried to help his grandmother sort out her Social Security benefits. She lives in a small rural town where internet access is unreliable, and she's not very comfortable using computers or navigating online systems. So for her, this renewed focus on in-person help actually sounds like a much-needed improvement. But another friend of mine, same age, same circumstances, lives in a big city, works full-time, and juggles caring for her kids. She relies heavily on the SSA's online tools to check her benefits, upload necessary documents, and schedule appointments. She told me, if I have to take a day off work just to wait in line at the office, that's going to completely throw off my entire week. So clearly, there's no one-size-fits-all solution here. Another part of this shift involves canceling several government contracts, especially those that previously supported day-related programs. The administration argues that these contracts didn't effectively reduce wait times or improve service outcomes. Instead, they're aiming to redirect resources back toward frontline staffing and more streamlined processes. This aspect of the plan has sparked plenty of debate. Supporters argue that it's about getting back to the agency's core mission, helping people secure their benefits efficiently and clearly. Critics, however, warn that slashing day programs could end up leaving certain groups underserved, especially communities that already face barriers to access. Ultimately, it comes down to perspective. Do you believe the Social Security Administration should stay lean and focus exclusively on direct service delivery? Or do you see value in programs that try to make access more equitable even if they don't immediately appear tied to speed or budget savings? Another thing worth thinking about is how these changes fit into a much broader trend we've been seeing in government. Every presidential administration brings its own set of ideas about what good government service should look like. Under Presidents Obama and Biden, the SSA leaned heavily into expanding digital services and embracing remote work. That approach made a lot of sense during the COVID-19 pandemic, helping keep the agency functional even when physical offices had to close down. Now, we're watching the pendulum swing in the opposite direction. The Trump administration is saying, let's get workers back in the office. Let's get back to basics. Whether or not this approach succeeds will depend on how well they can balance traditional service methods with the realities of today's diverse needs and expectations. And remember, these operational changes are also part of a much deeper conversation about what government is supposed to be. Should it prioritize modernization, inclusivity, and flexibility? Or should it aim to be more direct, efficient, and rooted in long-standing practices? This isn't just theoretical. Real people are affected. If a single parent can't figure out how to apply for survivor's benefits for their child, or if a disabled worker can't reach a representative to fix an error in their record, it's not just frustrating, it can be truly life-changing. Just pausing here to quickly share something important. We've partnered with Chapter, a service I wholeheartedly recommend for trustworthy, straightforward Medicare guidance. They'll connect you with a licensed advisor, compare every available Medicare plan in your area, and help you save money. Most people who use their service save around $1,100 per year. It's completely free, and their care advocate team continues supporting you even after enrollment. You can call 615-639-1137 or visit askchapter.org/money or use the link pinned in the comments below. Now, let's keep going. Every time the Social Security Administration changes how it operates, the details really matter. And next, let's take a closer look at National Social Security Month itself. This year, it's running all the way through August 14th, marking the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act. The campaign's main goal is to raise awareness and help more people connect with the benefits they're entitled to receive. You'll likely notice increased outreach efforts, posters, announcements, calls, and maybe even special events at local SSA offices. And although the campaign is emphasizing in-person service, they're still offering help through phone support and their online portal. So, if you're wondering whether these reforms mean digital tools are disappearing completely, the answer for now is no. But the emphasis is clearly shifting toward face-to-face interactions. Quick question for you. Have you ever tried calling the SSA and ended up stuck on hold for hours? Or maybe you've used their website and ran into glitches or dead ends? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could really help others feel less alone in what's often a very frustrating process. And speaking of frustration, one thing that many experts are watching closely is how these changes will affect long-term trust in the system. When the rules, the tone, and even the structure of the SSA shift every few years depending on who's in the White House, it can start to feel unpredictable. And when something as vital as Social Security starts to feel unstable or unreliable, it creates very real anxiety, especially for people who depend on it for their day-to-day survival. That's why this new announcement matters so much. It's not just a bullet point in a budget or a passing headline in the news cycle. It's a reflection of where we're headed as a country. Whether you support these reforms or question them, it's worth taking the time to understand exactly what they mean for your future and for your family's future. So, let's keep thinking critically. If these reforms truly lead to cost savings and faster service, that's fantastic, but we need to keep asking the right questions. Are services actually becoming more accessible? Are employees being supported so they can effectively help people? Are certain communities unintentionally being left behind? These are the real factors that will determine whether this new direction ultimately helps or harms, and that's why staying informed, staying involved, and staying vocal is so incredibly important. If you found this breakdown helpful, I hope you'll consider sharing it with someone who could benefit from a clearer, more thoughtful explanation of what's changing. Social Security affects nearly every American at some point in life. The more we all understand how it works and how it's evolving, the better we can plan, protect, and maximize the benefits we've worked so hard to earn. And of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more clear, calm, and practical financial insights every single week. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.